everybody, and welcome to the United Stand. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer press conference reaction for Manchester United versus Manchester City, the derby, Carabao Cup. We'll also be talking about links to Harry Winks. That rhymes, links and winks. What else rhymes with that? But also, and Jesse Lingard potentially linking up with Mino Raiola. And Lingard did feature quite heavily in the press conference of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer as well. So we'll be talking about all of that. I mean, I think one of the big things that sort of was interesting for me straight away was, and this wasn't the exact quote, but it was basically this. He was saying that we aim to be where City are, that Pep set the standards, and we've got to aim to be like that. And I found that, I'm not criticising Ole for saying that, because I actually agree, but it made me think about when Moyes a few years ago said that Liverpool are favourites, or we aspire to be like Liverpool. I think he said we aspire to be like City or something like that. But and I think Van Gaal may have said it, and I think Mourinho may have said it as well, or words to that effect. And every time that was said by Moyes or Van Gaal or Mourinho, it was castigated and they were slated for it. And yet you've got Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, legend of the club, fan of the club, coming out and basically saying that, you know, the standards have been set by City, and that's where we aim to be. And you think back to what Sir Alex Ferguson said about noisy neighbours and how quickly that's changed. I mean, look, at the start of Sir Alex's reign, he said, I'm going to knock Liverpool off their perch, and they had way more titles than us, and he did it. It's not that long a time when Sir Alex Ferguson was calling City the noisy neighbours, and now we've got Ole Gunnar Solskjaer saying we aim to be where they are. That just, to me, that's not a criticism of Ole. This is a criticism of the people at the top, which is where I think a lot of the frustration should be aimed by United fans, because in a very short period of time, on the Glazers' watch, we've gone from calling City the noisy neighbours with money to saying we aspire to be where they are. That's how low we have fallen, and we can still fall further. So I'm not critical of Ole for saying that. I'm saying that it's sad that has actually happened, because that is where we are as a club. But look, I want to talk about what Ole had to say. He had a lot to say about Lingard and the game, but two big bits of news coming out this morning. One is that David Ornstein, formerly of the BBC, pretty good journalist, saying that United and City are interested in Harry Winks. I like Harry Winks. I watch a lot of Spurs on the That's Football channel, in fact, and I do like him. But I do not understand why United would be going for Harry Winks, and I do not understand why Mourinho would be looking to sell him anyway. So, because it's come from David Ornstein, I'm like, well, he's pretty credible actually, in relation to the information that he puts out there. So, it's a funny one. I do like Harry Winks, but I yet again sort of tire of this, and it's not Harry Winks' fault. I don't know what you think, but I tire of this British passport sort of gateway into United targets. And I don't want Sean Longstaff. I'd rather have Harry Winks any day of the week. But I don't particularly want Harry Winks, because I just feel that everybody we're getting linked to, and this is not Goal or the Daily Mirror or anything like that. This is David Ornstein, who has a level of credibility. He's like Simon Stone. They're good journalists. And when he says that there's an interest from United in Harry Winks, I sort of think, well, there is. And then I think, well, why? Why? Because he's got a British passport. I mean, we've got to start looking beyond, because what happens is, if you just focus on British midfielders, there's only a small pool. You've got to look at Longstaff and Rice and Harry Winks and people like that, and it's like, that's not good enough. Like, there are better players for cheaper price out on the continent, and that's where we should be looking if we're scouting correctly. This British obsession, I think, has to stop. So that disappoints me, really. Although I do like Harry Winks, I think there's far, far better to go for. Also, the Jesse Lingard, Mino Raiola thing. Look, I don't think that Jesse Lingard going with Mino Raiola is going to do anything for Jesse Lingard's reputation amongst United fans. But some people love him, some people just find him irritating. Going with Mino Raiola is not going to make you more appealing. So what is behind this? Is this about getting a move out of Manchester United? In which case, I'm very happy that he's going to link up with Mino Raiola, because Mino Raiola is that sort of agent that gets moves for his clients. So that, to me, is a positive. I think for Lingard's career, he should leave Manchester United. I think, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was asked about Lingard in the interview today, and he said that, I think it was Simon Stone said there's a lot of negative press from the fans and people in general. I disagree with that, actually. I do disagree with that. I don't think that Jesse Lingard gets a lot of negativity from the press at all. If you can compare what Pogba and Martial get from, I've never heard Jesse Lingard criticised by any of our ex-players, and I don't really see much of it in the media. I've seen fans and fans of other clubs take the piss out of him, and I've seen fans of our club get angry with him, but I haven't seen the media going in on Lingard. I think Lingard's a media darling, to be honest with you, so I disagree with that. But Ollie said that he's had his ups and downs. He played well against City and Spurs. He's cut down on his social media, which is important. And he's absolutely brilliant for us. No one runs any more than him, and he's great for the press. And he used those City and Spurs games, which, to be honest with you, he's right. Let's talk about the City game for a moment. Jesse Lingard against a team that allows him to spin into space is a threat. That's where he plays his best football. City are a team that play high up the pitch, so you can spin in and get at their back four. A team that doesn't do that is where Lingard struggles, and that's why he's got no goals and assists. So against City, I think Lingard's a valuable player because they don't put anybody on him, so he can spin and run at their back four. So he is a threat in a game like that. But they're quite rare that people will do that. City do that because they're so confident of scoring goals themselves. If Lingard's got space to turn and run into, that's where he scores these goals and everything like that. But so many teams are aware of that he doesn't get that opportunity anymore. But if he's to go with Mino Raiola, then I really don't really have a problem with it. But I think what it does do, it only makes you... if Lingard's planning on staying at United, why would you get Mino Raiola? Because United can't stand Mino Raiola. A lot of United fans can't stand him. But I think as well, this probably just portrays and evidences the fact that there is a real disconnect between the players and the owners of Manchester United. And I've mentioned this before, so you can't say, if Lingard goes with Mino Raiola, that means he doesn't want to be at the club. I just think there is a disconnect. We saw it with Herrera, we've seen it with many United players where their contracts are run down. We're seeing it with Angel Gomez at the moment. These are lads that have been at United for many years, but their contracts are being run down because there is the relationship with the players and the board. I don't think is particularly good. And I think the players just look out for their own interests. And maybe Lingard feels that Mino Raiola is going to look out for his interests and make him more money in his career. So I find it a weird thing because Riola's been slagging the club off, quite rightly, I think, even though I don't like the guy. Why would Lingard go and link up with Raiola? It doesn't really make much sense. But if he's looking for a move or he's just looking out for himself, can you criticise him for that? I think it just shows that players of Manchester United don't necessarily have that much respect for the board. I think they've got respect for the club, but they clearly don't have that much respect for the board because it's obvious that Raiola doesn't get on with the board. He's slated them quite openly. Pogba disrespected the club, putting the Real Madrid logo on his official Snapchat account. 100% real. Oli has got to man up and suspend him. Spineless, says Shady Abazasa. People keep talking about this. I don't think it is his official Snapchat account at all because I've only ever heard it from our live comments that was his official account. So I actually don't believe that that's true. But, if you do, fair play. Harry Winks is perfect for Ollie. British passport and runs a lot, says Jake Pert. I don't know what's happened here. Oh, no, I've got it back now. I'd lost my live comments there. It's done it again. Sorry, everybody. It's pissing about a bit here. Don Ragnar says we must keep Lingard at all costs. He's the only world-class player that we have. I mean, just to bring in something Pep said about this game as well, because he's done his press conference. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has said about the Manchester City game that it's obviously it's a game that's it's too. Whatever the result tomorrow, it's half time, of course, which we all know because it's two legs. And obviously Manchester Derby's a great leveller. But Pep Guardiola spoke quite interesting, and I think United can win this game because I agree with Ollie. I think it is a game where you can definitely it is a leveller because of I can't get my bloody words out. Because it's the Derby, isn't it? But I think what's interesting as well is that when you look at the game, Pep Guardiola said that we expect Manchester United to run at us and we've got to be careful in possession so that we don't make the same mistakes that we did at the Etihad. And I felt that we beat Man City because they were very arrogant against us, which they've got their right to be. I think they thought they could just score loads of goals against us, and we defended well and we hit them on the break, and there was a lot of space to hit them on the break. Now, it's at Old Trafford, so will City go as gung-ho as they did at the Etihad? That's one factor. But also, I think Pep Guardiola acknowledges exactly what I've said, and many of you have said, is that whatever we think about Manchester United, and I don't like the counter-attacking football because I think it's too dependent on your opposition, whereas you should go and dictate how you want to play a game of football. And when you counter-attack, you're totally dependent on how much space the opposition are going to give you. What I think that Pep will acknowledge is that Manchester United on the break are probably one of the best teams in Europe, and I think we are. We've got that pace of James and Martial and Rashford, and if you give that space to Lingard, he is effective in an ineffective way, I suppose, because he's got no goals and assists in a year. But they've got to be careful, City, because if they actually deprive us of space, it's going to be very difficult for us to do anything. We have sunk so much it's beyond a joke. Can sum up everything by saying when we justify our problems, we recommit to them. 100% Ollie out, says Craig Thomas Miller. Strong words on a Monday morning. Ollie also said we want to win trophies. It's a derby game, of course. Big games give you energy above and beyond what you think you're capable of. And I thought that was a very good comment from Ollie, because I think when we're talking about this inconsistency at Manchester United, which we definitely have, this is the problem. In big games, it gives you energy, and you play above and beyond what you think you're capable of. And when you look at United's problems this season, Liverpool didn't lose, Man City won, Spurs won, Chelsea won, Leicester won. Against these big teams, we have played beyond what we've played against the lesser teams. And I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's hit the nail on the head there. In the big games, you get this energy and you go above and beyond what you think you're capable of. And I think that's not Ole taking responsibility for his coaching. That's Ole saying that these players do struggle with they get up for these games, but they can't get up for the other ones. And that does reflect, of course, that does reflect on the coaching as well. He says we've got to remember what we did well last time. Well, what we did well last time is exploit the space that Man City gave us when possession was lost, counter-attacking football. I think we might need a little bit more than that. Talking about injuries, he said we'll give them as much time as possible. Some would not be ready if we were playing today, and I think this is about people like Martial and maybe Lingard and Luke Shaw, who've all had injuries. I think Lingard's back, though, to be honest with you. He also said Lingard's getting back to his best as well. City level, got to aim for that, but because we can. Consistency. Well, I don't know what he was on about there. City level. Yeah, I think it's about the consistency of Manchester City. He said that Manchester City are obviously going to put a strong team out against us because they put a weakened team out against Port Vale in the Cup, so they'll go strong, and we've got to go strong as well. And this is basically because he was being asked a lot if Romero will play in goal because it's a Carabao Cup game. I think we'll see De Gea, and I think we'll see a strong United team. Although, apparently yesterday, Harry Maguire spent a lot of the day hobbling around because we know that Harry Maguire was carrying an injury against Wolves. Imagine if Harry Maguire misses that game. We'll have to play Phil Jones, won't we, with Lindelof? I can't think of any other centre-back that can come in unless Rojo's back. I don't think Twansebi's back. So we would have to play Phil Jones with Lindelof, which again amazes me how we haven't given Phil Jones any game time over the Christmas period, because he's been on the bench for so many games, but we've kept playing Harry Maguire and Lindelof. And I actually said Phil Jones should have played against Wolves because there's so many games again. Basically, you're asking players to play like 17 games every 3.5 days. You're playing a game. Eventually, you're going to pick up injuries doing that. City are in a much better form than they were when we played them last time. Apparently, they've won 7 in 8, and I think they'd only won 2 in 6 when we played them last time. So, look, I'm going to do the Man City preview later in relation to team preview and all that. But Lingard with Raiola says gaming streams. This is just a rumour at the moment, so I don't really want to go on it too much, but a few people saying that Eric Bailly might be back. Would you chuck Eric Bailly into that game? Is he going to be match fit for that? It'd be a big game to chuck him in, but I think Eric Bailly will be injured again by February anyway. He's so injury prone, but maybe Eric Bailly can come back. I don't know whether I would throw Eric Bailly in. I mean, how long's he been injured? Eric Bailly's been out for 6 months. You're going to chuck him into Man City where they're going to twist him here, there and everywhere? I think it's a bit unfair, but you never know. You never know. But yeah, the Mino Raiola Lingard thing is a rumour at this stage, so we can only say it's a rumour that he may be linking up with Mino Raiola as his agent, which the timing of it couldn't be any worse, could it? Mino Raiola's just been slating United for the last few weeks. He snubbed us with his client Erling Haaland, and then Lingard's going to go there. But look, to be honest with you, if it means Lingard's going to leave United, I'd be quite happy with that link-up, to be honest. I think it's best for Lingard to go. It's best for United for him to go. And if Raiola can get him a move, he's a magician. I don't know. I mean, Mino Raiola's used to getting huge percentages of transfer fees. I mean, why? Why is it going to happen? Unless, my only fear with Raiola and Lingard is that he wants to take him on because he wants to help him get the new contract at United and tie it into like all sorts of brand deals and this, that and the other, because that's something that Lingard is very good at for United, isn't it? Selling shirts and all that stuff. So maybe he wants Raiola on board to help him renegotiate his contract with Manchester United, because I can't see anybody buying Lingard anywhere in the world. So I don't see why Raiola would want to link up with him. The worrying thing is it might be to help him negotiate his new contract, which United, knowing United, would probably give him silly money and all sorts of bloody percentages of this, that and the other. I don't know. Twan Sebi says Savage videos. I mean, Twan Sebi, I don't know. I mean, he should be back. He should be back fit, of course. But again, you're talking about chucking players in who've been out for quite a period of time. Who would you want a player with no goals or assists? Who would want a player with no goals or assists in a year, says Luca. And I think that's the problem with Lingard. I think for him to be sold, he would have to... Tupac Shakur says that Sky are confirming that Jesse has teamed up with Raiola. I find it really weird. I've got to say, it's very weird timing to be doing something like that. But, that's the way it is, I suppose. 170k a week to Lingard, says Biggie Smalls. And Lingard scored more than Pele and Maradona last season. Stop being so harsh, says Taylor J. I like a bit of banter on a Monday morning. Make sure that you watch Manchester United Transfer Daily. That went out at 7 a.m. and that goes out at 7 a.m. every day, Monday to Friday. We were talking about Jimenez, Neves, Dani Olmo and a couple of other players. So make sure you check that out afterwards if you haven't watched it. And Adam Edwards says, I can't stand watching this team with Lingard in it. I mean, look, there is that interesting stat that Lingard started against Spurs and Man City and we won both games. But I think a lot of that was to do, like I say, with the fact that we played teams that went for us. Everyone was very surprised that Mourinho came to Old Trafford and attacked. And obviously Pep attacked at the Etihad. And that allows space. And I think when Lingard plays in a team there, he can spin in that number 10 position and run into space. He is more of a threat. And he does run around a lot. So does a Spaniel. But, there you go. But no, Ollie's obsessed with the press, isn't he? And I think he likes that. Combined 11, says Mashru Lam. I don't find a place for a United player in a combined 11 for Man City, I'm afraid. I don't. Maybe Wan-Bissaka at right back. I mean, could you argue Harry Maguire in there as a centre-back? I don't know. I mean, Man City's defence is crap, but I don't think United's defence is that much better at the moment. There definitely no midfielders get in, and I wouldn't say any of our attackers get in their front three because they've got Aguero, Sterling and Bernardo Silva. So, I mean, I used to like doing combined 11s, but I don't think I would waste my time doing a Man United, Man City combined 11 because it would just be embarrassing. I mean, maybe Wan-Bissaka gets in at right back. That's the only position I can think, really. Even the goalkeeper position, which we would always say De Gea, I think this season you probably would have to say Ederson. It's hard. Morgan Jackson says he'd put in Brandon Williams. Mate, you're drunk. Come on. Brandon Williams has got a great future at Manchester United, but let's not start rewriting some bloody history that he's like better than what Manchester City have got at left back. I don't think Mendy's been great, but he's better than Brandon Williams at the moment. And I think Brandon Williams is going to be a really good player in the future, but I think we've got to be very, very careful. He's a young lad. And if you look at the stats of Traore on Saturday, how many successful dribbles he had and how many crosses he put into the box, pretty high. But Brandon Williams still had a good game. But what I'm saying is I think everyone's like so desperate to not play Young there or Shaw there that they're like, oh, we've got this great player. I think he can become that, and I think he is playing well. But I don't think we should be starting to put this pressure on him, because when it starts to tumble off, which it will do because he's a young player, because he will be inconsistent, then you've set your expectations high. I just think with Greenwood and Williams, we've got two really good talented players there. Let's enjoy their developments, but they're not going to be the immediate fix for United. They need better players around them to help them to nurture them over the next 3 to 4 years. Do you think they are looking for a Rooney-type player for the centre attacking midfield spot, says Philly Ginnis? That's a weird sort of question. I don't necessarily think that they are. Tupac says, what's your thoughts on Harry Winks' link to City and United? I think I can see why Pep Guardiola would be interested in Harry Winks. He wouldn't be a starter. He'd probably come in as a squad player, and the way he sort of moves the ball about, he is quite a cultured player in the way, the one-touch football and the sit there and move the ball about. Look, I like Harry Winks. He's a good player, but I think that what concerns me about it is it's just why are we in for Harry Winks as a player for Manchester United? Because he's got a British passport. I think there is that continued frustration with United that we just seem to get linked with the same sort of player all the bloody time. So yeah, I'm a little bit dubious about that one, to be honest with you. But I do like him. I'd take him over Longstaff every day of the week. Would have loved Twansibi to grab the first team spot, and I'm gutted for him, says Kartik. I think when Twansibi comes back, he will be another youth player that plays regularly, like Williams and Greenwood. I think that Twansibi, if he hadn't got injured, would probably be playing with Harry Maguire. And I think the interesting thing about Twansibi is we've got to keep an eye on him, because he did pick up injuries at Aston Villa last year, and he is picking up injuries here. Are we dealing with another injury-prone centre-back? And Twansibi, it's too early to say that, but I think we need to keep an eye on Twansibi over the next year, because he can't keep picking up injuries. And sometimes as a young player you pick up injuries because you're still growing, but as a centre-back you need... And look, Harry Maguire's the other end of the spectrum. He just seems to play every bloody game, and sometimes he does need a rest. But you want your centre-backs to play loads of games because you want to build a partnership, and we've never had that. I think Eric Bailly's a very good centre-back, and I think Twansibi's a good centre-back. And I think at times Rojo looked like he was going to be a good centre-back, but all three of those players spend a lot of time injured. So if you're going to build a partnership, you need your players to be fit. Abdullah Talni says, what do you think about Dortmund's Julian Brandt? He's young, he's talented, but he's not British. Maybe that's the problem. Well, yeah, we're not linked to him. We're not linked to him, and that's probably because he's not got a British passport. You're right, but there we go. Right, everybody, thanks everyone for watching. Flex does not watch the United Stand, does he? How many times does Flex ring me when I'm live on the United Stand? I'm going to tell him off. Like, watch the United Stand, mate. It's not just 8 o'clock on an evening night. That reminds me, please do smash a like on the video, subscribe if you're new, and make sure you check out Transfer Daily. Went out at 7 AM every morning, Monday to Friday, Transfer Daily. We're back live again tonight at 7 o'clock tonight. It's an earlier show tonight, 7 o'clock. Would Winks get into the team when McTominay gets back from injury? If Ollie wants to play with a number 10, Harry Winks ain't the answer, says Jordan Such. Interesting point. Thank you, Jordan. I'll speak to you all soon. If anything happens during the day, we'll definitely go live again. If not, it will be 7 o'clock tonight. Thanks for watching. I'm going to ring Flex up and give him a bollocking now. Speak to you soon. Sack Flex for not watching all shows.